Hello, happy Sabbath. It's children's story time, and I have a story about two brothers. So these are two brothers. One is Jacob, one was Israel. These are two brothers who inherited a farm from their father. When their father passed away, they were left a farm. Now, Jacob, the older brother, had a talent for agriculture. And by that, I mean he could make things grow. He could make pumpkins grow the size of babies, crops grow to the height of trees, and he just really poured all of his love into the earth, and it gave back to him. Now there was Israel. Israel had a way with animals. He was like an animal whisperer, and the animals would just come to him. He had donkeys, he had horses, he had sheep, he had cows, he had any other animal that you might find on a farm. He also had chickens, and he had one particular chicken that was a very special chicken. This chicken laid the most perfectly shaped eggs. It was an exquisite color, white, I guess. The eggs that this chicken produced always had two yolks inside. It was just amazing. So he really, really loved this chicken. Now, one day, Jacob decided, okay, it's time to sow our seeds. It's time to grow our crops. The sun is shining just right. The season is perfect. We're gonna grow some crops. But he needed Israel's help because Israel is the one who had the ox. And Jacob needed an ox that could pull his plow and help him dig the land so that he could put the seeds inside. So Jacob went to Israel. Israel, you have to help me plow the land so I can sow my crops. You can't make me do anything. You're not the boss of me. You know you're gonna eat that crop as well. You better help me. Okay, fine. Because Israel really liked to eat. So they both decided to go and plow the land so that they could put the seeds inside, so the seeds would grow into crops and so they could eat. So then they were going along, and they were bickering with each other because that's what they always did. They were going along, and then suddenly the ox weren't moving, and they couldn't get them to move. And so they were like, what's the problem? Just move. And then they go to the back to see what's going on there, and then they find that the plow is stuck. The plow is stuck on something that's in the ground. So they go to check what it is. And can you guess what they found in the ground? A sack of gold. And they were ecstatic. They were dancing, they were laughing, they were hugging each other, like very excited. And Jacob was saying, oh, the things that I will do with my gold. And then Israel was like, what do you mean with your gold? It's my gold. It was in my land, so it's my gold. You wouldn't have found that gold, which is my gold, if it hadn't been for my ox. It's my land, it's my gold. It's my ox, it's my gold. So they went, bickering at each other, as they always do. And they always do it. So then they decided, you know what? We're not going to come to a conclusion. We have to go to the elder to get an answer. They go to the elder, and they explain. Jacob says, elder, oh great wise elder, we need your help today. I found gold in my land, but Israel here says that it's his gold because it was because of his ox that we found it. And also, while we're on the topic of Israel, the fact that Israel got a special coat from our father, and so Israel thinks that he's really special, and he never shares that coat with me, but I'd like to wear a coat sometimes. So we just need you to fix this. And the wise elder looked at them. He thought about it. Okay, right. And he said the answer is simple. And they were like, what is it, elder? And he's like, come closer. And so they leaned in closer. What is it, elder? Neither of you keeps the gold. Neither of you. That is not the answer that we came for, is what Jacob said. I'll say it again. Neither of you keeps the gold. This is Israel. But I have things that I could do with the gold. The things that neither of you keeps the gold. There is a city nearby, devastated by coronavirus. They need masks. People are not working. They need food. You got this money freely, give it freely. So the brothers, they couldn't really argue with that. And they started thinking, well, I guess it would be a good thing to help, the city next door. So I guess we could just take the gold and give it to them. So, after a while, they actually became quite excited about it. We're gonna go to the city next door and we're gonna help them. We're gonna get masks. We're gonna tell them it's important to wear the mask. We're gonna help people who may not have the things they need because they may not have jobs. And we're gonna do a good thing. So morning came and they were ready to go on their trip to the city next door to help the people who had been affected by coronavirus. Now, because Israel was in such a good mood, he decided that he would let his brother Jacob wear the coat. So he brought it out and he said, you know what, Jacob? Here, wear it. And Jacob was like, I don't mind if I do. I will wear your coat. I will very much wear your coat. You know what, I think your coat looks better on me than it does on you. So Israel then decided that, you know what, it's a special day today. I'm gonna take my chicken with me on our little journey. So Israel gets his little chicken, puts the collar on his chicken, and they go. They go on their horses, they're moving along. And you know what, they're having a good time. And then somebody jumps out in front of them and says, freeze. And so they freeze. And Israel, who is scared of everything, goes, ah! And when he goes, ah! The chicken that he was holding flies out of his hand. And where does the chicken fly to? The chicken flies to the man who said freeze. The man who said freeze is a robber. And the robber has been pouncing on anybody who goes down this road. So he picks up the chicken and he says, look at this. Dinner is served. So Israel's, no, not the chicken, not the chicken. What do you want? We'll give you whatever you want, just not the chicken. And the man says, what do you have to give? And Israel says, we got gold. We got gold. Hey, Jacob, give him the gold. Jacob says, we're not going to give the gold for a chicken. Israel says, give him the gold. So Jacob gives him the gold, and he is very irritated by it. You can tell by the way he's huffing and puffing, but he gives him the gold. Gives him the gold, hands it over, takes the chicken. So Jacob is there on his horse with the coat and the chicken. The man has the gold in his hand, puts it in his own pocket, a very smelly jacket that they can smell from here. And then Israel is breathing a bit easier. And the man looks at the two of them, and then he looks at Jacob. That's a very nice coat that you have. And Jacob says, yes, it is a very nice coat that I have, isn't it? And the man says, I think I want your coat. And Jacob says, you want this coat? Oh, ooh, well. And he looks at Israel, and Israel's like, not the coat. You just took the gold. You're not gonna get the coat as well. And the man says, if you don't give me the coat. Jacob said, it's fine. No need to get crazy. Here's the coat. Take the coat. Take the coat. If you promise to leave us alone, here. Take the coat. So the man takes the coat, puts it on, looks down at himself, decides that, you know what? It looked better than me than it did on you. And so Israel is fuming. And he's thinking, how dare you give my coat? Jacob says, calm down. Now, you promised, says Jacob, that you were going to leave us, so leave us. But before you leave us, look what you've done to my brother here. Now, fuming Israel, look what you've done to my brother here. I think the least that you can do, after you threatened his chicken and took his coat, the least that you can do is give him your coat. It's cold. You know what? You're right. I'm in a good mood right now. Here, you have my smelly coat. So he takes his coat off, drops it on the ground in front of him, and then he goes. Now, Israel blows up. How dare you? I knew it. I knew you were jealous of me for having that coat. I knew it. And you always thought that I was Dad's favorite. Well, there's a reason why. I wouldn't have negotiated like that. Jacob is like, calm down. I knew that you were always jealous of me. Ever since Dad gave me that coat and he didn't give you one, you've been eyeing my coat, looking for an opportunity to rid me of it, and look what you did now. Just gave it away like that. And why are you laughing? And Jacob is laughing. Jacob is laughing very hard. So then Jacob stops. He says, okay, I'm sorry. Why don't you go look at your new coat? Israel's like, you are so mean, says Israel. You know how special that coat was to me. And you just... Jacob says, Israel, calm down. Go get your coat and check the pockets. What do you think was inside the pocket of this coat, this smelly coat that the robber dropped on the ground in front of Israel? It was nothing else but the gold. So the brothers laughed together, both of them laughing, smacked each other on each other's backs, and they were happy again. And then, you know what, Israel had an idea, and he's like, what if we both get a coat for ourselves? I'll pick yours, you pick mine. They continued their journey down to the town next door to help the people struggling with Corona. The end. So what is the moral of this story? It can be anything you want it to be, but there are two things that I'd like to put to you. Things that you get freely, you can give freely. If you've been blessed by God, you can bless other people and be a blessing. Just like these brothers who were going to be a blessing to the town next door that was struggling with coronavirus. And the other thing to remind you of is if anybody does something to you that harms you, that makes you angry, if they take something from you, remember, vengeance is the Lord. And God knows exactly what each of us are doing. He will not let the evil prosper, but he will lift up those who are good.